I waited outside the hospital parking lot. 3 hours. 3 hours wondering if I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. Then she appeared, the same woman, brown coat, tired eyes, holding a folder against her chest. And the boy, Lucas, he walked slowly beside her, too slowly for a child his age. Daniel wasn't there, which somehow made it worse. I followed them inside, not proud of it, not brave either. Just desperate. At reception, she spoke quietly. I am here for Lucas' oncology appointment. Oncology. The word hit harder than betrayal ever could. Cancer. I sat frozen. Everything I believed began cracking. She wasn't a lover. She wasn't hiding. She looked exhausted, like someone fighting a war every day. A nurse approached her. Ms. Carter, the legal guardian paperwork is ready. Legal guardian. Not mother, not wife. Guardian. That night I searched her name online. Social worker. Assigned to long-term pediatric cases. Lucas had no listed parents. No family contacts. Only medical records and financial assistance requests. Then I saw it. Payment history. Anonymous donor contributions. Monthly. Regular for months. The dates matched Daniel's late nights. Mini twist ending. This wasn't new. Daniel hadn't just met them. He had been part of their lives for a long time. And suddenly, I wasn't sure if I was uncovering a betrayal or interrupting something far more complicated. But one question refused to disappear. Why would my husband secretly care for a dying child? Who wasn't his? The bank notification arrived at 2:13 a.m. Large withdrawal, joint savings account. Daniel never touched that money without telling me. Never. Until now. The next morning I checked the statements. One payment, then another, then another. Thousands, disappearing every month. Hidden under medical billing companies, loan services, private lenders. My hands started shaking. Was he gambling, being blackmailed, living a second life? I called the bank pretending to confirm details. That's when I learned the truth. Daniel had taken a personal loan, large enough to destroy us financially. Without my signature, without telling me. Anger came fast, hot, immediate. He wasn't just hiding something. He was risking our future. Part 3, the hospital bill. I went back to the hospital. This time, not to spy, but to understand. At the billing office, I overheard a nurse speaking. The donor covered another treatment cycle for Lucas. My stomach dropped. The amount she mentioned matched the withdrawal exactly. Daniel wasn't spending money on another woman. He was paying hospital bills, chemotherapy, medication, procedures insurance wouldn't cover. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt something worse. Conflicted, because kindness shouldn't feel like betrayal. I asked quietly at reception, "Is Daniel family?" The nurse checked the file, then shook her head. No. He's not related to Lucas. Not father, not guardian, not legally responsible. So why was my husband sacrificing everything for a child who meant nothing to him? Or maybe a child who meant more than I could imagine. I found it by accident. A local news archive buried deep online. A headline stopped me. Late night collision leaves woman seriously injured. The date felt familiar. 15 years ago. The same year Daniel never talked about. The article was short. Rain, poor visibility. 2 cars, 1 critical injury. The driver wasn't charged. No alcohol, no speeding. Just panic. Witnesses said the young driver stayed briefly, then left before police arrived. My chest tightened. I already knew who it was. Daniel. I kept reading. The woman survived but lost everything. Long recovery. Financial collapse. A young child left without stability. The child's name appeared once. Lucas. Everything went silent inside me. Daniel didn't break the law. But he ran. Young, afraid. choosing fear instead of responsibility. For years, he never looked back. Until recently, another record appeared. Anonymous donations funding Luca's treatment, monthly payments. Started 3 years ago. The same year Daniel began changing. Late nights, distance, sleepless silence. He just found them again. He stayed, without asking forgiveness. Ending, Daniel Wasson T hiding an affair. He was trying to repair a mistake that followed him for half his life. Not deception, guilt, the kind that never lets you rest, and for the first time, I Wasson T afraid of losing my husband. I was afraid of finally understanding him. Daniel confessed before I confronted him, like he already knew the truth had reached me. We sat at the kitchen table. No phones, just silence. I never cheated, he said, his voice Wasson T defensive. Only tired. I didn't want you carrying my mistake. He told me everything. The accident, the fear, running away. Years pretending life moved on. Until one night he searched her name online. That search led him to Luca's. Sick, alone, fighting something he never chose. And Daniel decided to help, quietly. I knew if you found out, you'd help too, he said, and I didn't want this to become your burden. The treatments kept coming. The bills never stopped. He watched me carefully, waiting for anger, waiting for rejection. Luca's needed surgery, urgent, expensive. Daniel had already decided, sell the car, take more loans. Do whatever it took, even if it destroyed us. I wanted to be angry, secrets hurt, trust matters. Marriage isn't supposed to include hidden sacrifices, but another question grew louder. What kind of person spends years fixing a mistake no one forced him to fix? If you want to leave, I understand. Daniel said, and I realized this wasn't about lies anymore. It was about who we become after the truth. Because love isn't choosing someone when life is easy. It's deciding whether to stay, when their past becomes your future too. And I still didn't know my answer. We rushed to the hospital in silence. Daniel gripped the steering wheel so tightly his hands turned pale. Neither of us spoke, because we both knew what this meant. Time was running out. Doctors moved quickly. Nurses whispered. Machines beeped in uneven rhythms. Luca's needed surgery immediately. Without it, he wouldn't survive. Outside the ICU, Daniel handed me an envelope. Property documents. Loan papers, sale agreements. I am selling the house, he said quietly. The words didn't feel real. Our home, our future, everything we built together. Gone for a child who wasn't ours. I finally broke. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice shaking between anger and fear. We could have decided together. Daniel looked exhausted. I didn't want you to lose this life because of my mistake. That choice wasn't yours alone, I said. Years of silence exploded at once. Pain, fear, love, all tangled together. A nurse approached us softly. Luca's wants to see Daniel. We entered the room carefully. Luca's looked small beneath the machines. But his eyes were calm. I know who you are, Luca's said. Daniel froze. I remember the accident, the boy continued. I heard everything later. I held my breath, waiting for anger, for blames, for hatred. But Luca's smiled weakly. I am not mad at you. Daniel's eyes filled instantly. You came back, Luca's said. Most people wouldn't. In that moment, something changed. Not just for Daniel, for me, for everyone watching this story unfold. This wasn't guilt anymore. It was redemption. As doctors prepared Luca's for surgery, Daniel stepped back into the hallway, looking smaller than I had ever seen him. And for the first time, I understood the weight he had been carrying alone. We sat outside the operating room. No arguments left, no secrets left, just waiting. Daniel stared at the floor, like he didn't deserve hope. I reached for his hand. He looked surprised. As if support was something he hadn't expected. For the first time, I saw everything clearly. He hadn't hidden the truth to deceive me. He hid it because shame convinced him he had to suffer alone. All those late nights, all those distant moments, they weren't signs of betrayal. They were signs of someone trying to become better than who they once were. Hours later, the surgeon finally appeared. Mask lowered, tired eyes, small smile. The surgery was successful. The world seemed to breathe again. Daniel covered his face and cried quietly. Not loudly, not dramatically, just relief finally escaping after years of guilt. Days later, Lucas was awake. Weak but smiling, the room felt lighter, hope replacing fear. Daniel stood beside the bed, unsure where he belonged. Lucas reached out first, holding his hand. No words needed. Forgiveness had already happened. That night, sitting beside Daniel in the hospital hallway, I finally said what I understood. Love isn't about perfect honesty. He looked at me, confused, exhausted, hopeful. Sometimes, I said, it's about having the courage to stay after the truth. Our life didn't become perfect. We still had debts, still had scars, still had difficult days ahead, but something changed. We stopped pretending love meant avoiding mistakes and started believing it meant growing beyond them. Because families aren't defined by perfection. They are defined by the people who choose to remain, even after everything falls apart. And this time, we stayed.